Now, what happened with the investigation after that, detective? I'm gonna, like, ask about his health insurance, too. Click, 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 click. Oh, wait, what? We can't ask him again? Okay, we can't ask him about his health insurance. But the defendant had been passed out for a while, correct? In that case, isn't it possible someone planted the evidence in Maggie's pocket? Hey, yeah, you've nailed it, pal. It happened to me all the time. Wait, it happens to me all the time. We had a department party the other day, and when I got home, I was wearing the boss's shoes!
Objection!
Keeping up this crazy testimony, detective, and those shoes will end up down your throat. Sorry. So Wright, someone planted the evidence in Maggie's pocket. That's a pretty bold statement. Can't you back it up with some evidence? Well, I'd love to if I had any. Back it up with some evidence. Backing it up with evidence. I mean, there's indirect stuff. He owes money. I did used to have a poem that says the chef is a thief, but we threw that away for no good reason. He does have prior convictions for theft. It appears you have no evidence to support your theory, Mr. Wright. Continue with your testimony, witness. And that was it. There was nothing else missing from the crime scene. So the $500,000 lottery ticket and the bottle of poison were accounted for. Yeah. Interesting. It's true that those two items are accounted for. But wasn't there another lottery ticket that was stolen that day? Oh yeah. The one the restaurant owner took. He won a whole dollar with it. What a lucky guy, huh? And they're just going to let him get away with it? He's a thief! He stole $1! It was just $1, detective. I guess no one cares when it's that little, except for Gumshoe. If I don't find a hole in this testimony, the judge is going to hand down his verdict. Gumshoe isn't giving us anything to work with, and we can't find any contradictions if he doesn't give us something. Yeah, that's true. But Maggie and Gumshoe are like Dumb and Dumber. Our only hope is that they were so dumb they missed something obvious. Come on, Gumshoe, be the dumbest you've ever been! Alright, what's going on? There's a whole lot of suspicious things, but I'm not sure which one the game wants me to say. Like the fact that the crime is reported so late. She's passed out from the shop. Freedom didn't have any identification on him. We figured out who he was pretty quick, and then the investigation went smoothly. MC Bomber. Nothing else was missing from the crime scene. Okay, I'm gonna like try the medication. The medication is missing from the crime scene. Detective Gumshoe, I think I should point out one thing to you. Wait, I should point something out to you. There is just one small contradiction in your testimony. Oh ho, finally! I'm getting all anxious just waiting, so hurry up, will you? You testified that nothing else was missing from the crime scene. However, the prescription bag you mentioned was empty. Did the officers recover the medicine from the scene of the crime later? No, they didn't. The victim was given a prescription right before going to Trey Ban. Where then did the medicine disappear to? You are too cool, pal! Indeed. I mean, how does that have anything to do with the case? It doesn't really have anything to do with the case. I mean, the fact that the other guy could have hidden behind the screen is much more relevant. But okay, let's talk about the medicine first. Due consideration wasn't given to the victim's prescription in the previous trial. How is that relevant to anything? Witness! Why do you always overlook such vital pieces of evidence? I guess that's the most careless thing I've done so far, huh? The victim was killed by poison! And the victim's medicine mysteriously disappeared. The victim's own prescription could have been the lethal poison itself. Order! Well, Mr. Kudo, what do you have to say to that? Ah! That's all. What? Read for the court the name of the clinic on the prescription bag, if you will. What's the clinic's name got to do with anything? New Ear Otolaryngological Clinic. Otolaryngological? Just what kind of illnesses was the victim suffering from, Mr. Kudo? It's ear and throat. Hardly an illness, Your Honor. More like a bitter war wound, you could say. A war wound? The day before the incident, Mr. Elk found himself in a fight. He took a blow to the side of his head and ruptured his eardrum. Man, that's pretty serious. He ruptured his eardrum. Then what on earth was the prescription he was given? It was a cream that was to be applied topically inside his ear canal, not to be ingested. Nani? Okay, so what happened to the cream? It's mentioned in the autopsy report if you read the fine print. Okay, thanks, video game. They found traces of the medication in the victim's left ear. Yes, here it is, in a very fine print. It seems Mr. Elk correctly applied some of his medication while he was at very good. Therefore, it would be absurd to believe that he would have eaten his medication. But all the images show him listening to the radio on his left ear. If he ruptured his eardrum on his left ear, how could he listen to the radio on that side? Do we have we don't have a picture of him. I mean, we don't have a picture of the radio. Urgh. It seems that this medication is irrelevant to the case after all. Yeah, I thought so. Oh god, no. Nick! If you don't think of something quick, it'll all be over. She's right, but I can't get away with any old weak objection. What should I do? I'm gonna push the medication issue. How is he listening to the radio on his left ear if his left ear is ruptured? Only moments ago, Mr. Kudo made the following statement. It seems Mr. Elk correctly applied some of his medication while he was at very good. If that's the case, then why was the medication not found at the scene of the crime? But the medication in question was for topical use inside the ear canal. That doesn't change the fact that it could not be found at the crime scene. However insignificant it may seem, it is a lawyer's duty to pursue the truth.
Objection.
You know as well as I do that the medication is irrelevant! No, somebody took the medication away. That means someone else was there. It hardly seems likely that a prescription drug would contain potassium cyanide. It hardly seems likely that the coffee the waitress served would contain it either. But it did! The possibility is undeniable. Ugh. That's enough. Mr. Kudo is the detective, the only witness the prosecution wishes to call. Mr. Kudo! I've got my own witness I'd like to call, sir. It's the old man who was there in the restaurant on the day of the murder. Victor Kudo, the pigeon hater. Very well. Wait, no, what? No, you can't. A witness can't call other witnesses, Judge. What the hell is going on? The matter of the disappearing medication seems little more than trivial at best. No, somebody else took the medication away. There was somebody else there. However, it wasn't explored at all in the previous trial. And that is something that bothers me. Yay. Good job, Nick. Yay. The court will adjourn for a 10-minute recess, after which we will hear the prosecution's next witness. Ha! I suppose this means I'll just have to finish you off in my last 6 cups. Court is adjourned for recess. January 7, 11:03 AM, District Court, Defendant Lobby number 1. Whew, that was close. Tell me about it. I nearly died in there. Why? What? That's my line, sir. No, it's my line. I think I really did die a little bit. Looks like we were all nearly died in there. I can't believe Detective Gumshoe. How could he betray us like that? What? Huh? He said he'd help me, but he totally set me up. I don't think he meant to do that, Maggie. He was backed into a corner. I mean, the guy's got to do his job, right? It's okay. I know all about lies and betrayal. I've had them my whole life. But it really hurt this time. It felt like someone punched me hard in the stomach. I hate that guy. I don't ever want to see him again. Poor Gumshoe. So the next witness is going to be that old guy from the park, right? Yeah, Mr. Kudo, lover of waitress outfits and projectile seats. I bet he's gonna be really stubborn. I mean, he's pretty set in his ways, you know. Yeah, he's a big old grouch. Are you going to be able to handle him, Nick? I mean, if you call Maya... if you call Mia back, we might be fine. Yeah, I can take whatever he throws at me, even those never-ending birdseeds. There's always Mia. January 7, 11:15 AM, District Court, Courtroom number 4. Are they going to random courtrooms? Court will now reconvene for the trial of Maggie Bird. Mr. Godot, your next witness, please. The prosecution calls the lucky old-timer who caught the show over a cup of coffee. Would the witness please take the stand? Name and occupation if you don't mind. The name's Victor Kudo, born and bred in the land of the rising sun. Honor and duty are what make me. Mind you, I can be quite emotional at times too. We don't need to hear about that, Mr. Kudo. Just tell the court your occupation. My occupation? Ka, listen, young'un. How much core do you think there is for kimono embroidery here? Kimono embroidery? That's what I do, or did, back in Japan. I embroidered family crests on kimonos. Can't you just embroider other things? My ancestors were embroidering kimonos before this country even existed. Wow, a real craftsman. They are a dying breed. Hey, maybe he could embroider my costume sometime. Yeah, he could like put the silver samurai or the steel samurai on it. Anyway, like I said, there's not much demand for that kind of thing here. So I had to take a job working the cash register at a burger joint, pretending to smile. That burger joint would have been better off putting him in the kitchen. No, don't put him in the kitchen. That's even worse. Now then, witness. Were you in the restaurant at the time of the incident? Oh yes, I was eating some seeds over a cup of Javachino. Seeds? What do you think these are? I see. So you saw everything that happened, Gramps. Did I? Oh yes. Oh yes I did, I saw it all. Then please tell the court. We're all ears. Sure. I'll tell you every last detail. Is he just gonna describe the maid outfit the entire time? He's really getting into this. What I witnessed! The young man was reading the sports paper. The serving girl brought him a Javachino, but she put something in it. The man took one sip of it. Looked like he was in terrible pain, then collapsed. That's the serving girl, right there in the defendant's chair. I remember her well. That's not... Mr. Kudo, she's not a serving girl. Please refer to her as a waitress. I mean... It's similar. Gah, you're as bad as the rest of them. All these newfangled words, what's wrong with old-fashioned ones? Newfangled? He's newfangled. All this talk of radios and glasses, it's wireless and spectacles, I tell you. Excuse me. Listen to me, everyone. Don't forget the old values. Don't let the good old days slip away. You've let the good old days slip away. Well, I think it's time to begin the cross-examination, Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor. The young man was reading the sports paper. How do you know? So you saw the victim then? You saw Mr. Glenelg. I wanted to know if Gutson Braun retained his championship or not. So he was looking at the sports paper the victim was reading, huh? And at the location in question, there are partitions between tables on the same side of the restaurant, right? So what if there are? If you say that you could see the victim, that means you were sitting on a table, at a table on the other side of the restaurant, correct? Ka! I go to that place to drink the Javachino. I don't go to sit. I don't remember which table I was sitting at. You mean you go there to eye the waitress? The serving girl brought him a Javachino, but she put something in it. Hold on. If he goes there to eye the waitress, he would sit like here? Which would give him the best view of the waitress. Because the waitress might go there and back, here and back. So if you're here, if you're sitting here, and the waitress does that, you barely see her. But if you sit here, you see her do this. You also see her like go across there and go across to there. So sitting here or here gives you the best view of the waitress. And I just discussed how to pervert girls, I just realized. Alright. If you want to be an old pervert, you need strategy, is what I'm saying. Mr. Kudo, that is a very grave accusation. Are you sure about what you saw? Victor Kudo never makes mistakes. I dot every T and cross every I. Oh, that's... okay. I see. My eyesight's fine. The doctor said I only need spectacles for reading and driving. So they're not fine. I bet his eyes are only really fine when he's scoping out a waitress. And I saw what the serving girl put into the Javachino as well. I bet I know what's coming up, and something tells me I'm not gonna like it. Your Honor, we need more clarification on what was put into the victim's coffee. I'd like to ask the witness add what he knows about this to his testimony. I agree. Wait, witness! Will you enlighten us, please? Sure. There's no question about it. She's very conspicuously put some white powder in there. Did she really put that into the coffee? You doubt me, boy? She took some out of a small brown bottle and sprinkled it in. Couldn't she have been adding sugar? Sugar in a small brown bottle like that? Like that? Witness! Could you please describe the bottle in more concrete terms? Ah! A bottle like this, perhaps? Oh, there it is. That's the one! That's the bottle of potassium cyanide, I presume. So what did the accused put into the coffee? I think it's clear, don't you? Ugh. The man took one sip of it. It looked like he was in terrible pain, and then collapsed! He took just one sip? You young'uns, you waste everything. Those Javachinos cost $8! Yeah, he only had 58 cents on them. In the good old days, we would have drank every last drop, eaten the cup, and then died! Congratulations, you have earned the title of battiest man to grace the courtroom. So it was an immediate death. Well, with potassium cyanide, I suppose that is possible. Oh yes, he slumped over without so much as a twitch. I felt the Javachino I just drank turn sour in my stomach. Oh yes, I know that feeling. And the waitress, I presume she is... That's the serving girl, right? There, in the defendant's chair, I remember her well. You said, I remember her well in reference to the waitress. Did she have any particular features that you can identify her by? Particular features? It's a disgrace, that's what it is. Sorry? You can see all the way up to her, you know. Knees? She's practically naked in that uniform. So the particular feature you recognize about the waitress is her outfit. But anyone could wear such an outfit, even me! Yes, you can, Phoenix. Yes, you can. Mr. Wright, please spare the court of any further mental anguish from that image. Don't get all excited, Nick. You gotta keep yourself together. I guess I got a bit carried away. Gah! There are other things I recognize about her too. He seems pretty sure of himself. What should I do? Press harder! Sure, you saw a waitress take the coffee over to the victim. But what matters is whether that waitress was Maggie Bird or not. Quite right. Mr. Kudo, these are the features that you recognize about the defendant. I would ask you to add them to your testimony. Sure. There was a ribbon in her hair, and her apron straps were loose. There was a ribbon in her hair, and her apron straps were loose? Okay, there is a ribbon in her hair. You do seem to remember several details about her appearance. But what about the most crucial detail of all, her face? Gah! As if I wouldn't remember that. The witness noticed the straps on the accursed apron. Accused apron, I mean. He's unlikely to make a mistake about her face. No. He was staring at her thighs. That's right, I can even tell you the color of the ribbon in her hair. It was red! So you see there was nothing wrong with the witness's eyesight. There's no doubt he remembers the waitress pretty well. What should I do? I get the feeling there's something more to this somehow. Ask about the waitress's back. The identifying features you described are all things you would see from the back. So what? Is it possible that you never saw the waitress from the front at all? Ha! He's got you there, Gramps. Go on, Kudo. People normally talk about facial features when they're asked to describe someone. But this witness testimony is nothing but straps and ribbons. This is harassment. I tell you, I'm not obsessed with ribbons or straps. I'm just telling you what I saw. Mr. Kudo, the court requests that you add details about any identifying features. Features you observed from the front, that is, to your testimony. Sure. This old man's testimony is getting longer and longer. And if I can't find a hole in it soon, it will get even longer, I bet. There wasn't anything that caught my interest about her when I saw her from the front. There wasn't anything that caught your interest about her when you saw her from the front? She's got glasses. You didn't find anything to be distinct, but you did clearly see the witness's face, yes? No question about it. I didn't come this far to back down now. Victor Kudo never backs down. That's not the answer I was looking for, but okay. This has turned into a matter of pride for old CD now, I guess. I wonder if he really did see Maggie's face or not. Like I thought, we need some concrete proof of this. Proof that the old guy didn't see the waitress clearly from the front. Do you think old CD really saw Maggie do it? Well, he probably had his eye on the waitress the whole time, that's why he was there. But he was there for the cute outfits, right? Not the waitress. I guess. She makes a good point though. Hey, did I just say something clever? I wonder if the waitress Mr. Kudo saw really was Maggie. That's what we have to figure out, Nick. I guess she's got glasses on? I'm gonna just like put her face here. Present her face! Nope. Oh no, it's a dirty apron from the front. Okay, fine. Present the dirty apron from the front. Mr. Kudo! I would like you to please take a look at this. Gah, that filthy thing would suit filth like you just perfectly. Actually, it reminds me of what my grandson looks like just after he's done eating. Have you ever seen this before? Of course I haven't. Do you think I'd forget something as dirty as that? Well, you're half with the clout. Clot, I mean. What? What is it? Ever since I said you're half with the clot, there's been an eerie silence in here. Mr. Kudo, this apron is the apron worn by the defendant on the day of the poisoning. Ah. And as you just said yourself, you wouldn't forget something like this. Which means, if you had really seen this apron before... Yes, you know what I'm getting at. You couldn't have possibly seen the waitress from the front! Oops. Witness! You can't just oops your way out of this. Ha! Well, well. Looks like we finally have a genuine trial on our hands. Listen, Wright. Here are the facts. On the day of the incidents, there was only one waitress in the restaurant. That being the defendant, Miss Maggie Bird. Exactly. And when that one waitress put the poison into the coffee cup, this old guy was watching. I hope you understand the gravity of the situation, Mr. Kudo. The fate of the defendant may rest on what you say you remember seeing. Just tell the court exactly what you saw, Gramps. You can rely on me, Captain. My noggin is in perfect working order. No, it's not. I can't remember a single occasion when I forgot what burger a customer wanted. He can't remember? Probably more like he messed up so many times he's blocking it out. Very good. Let's test just how good your memory and attention to detail is, Mr. Kudo. Tell us what you remember about the victim. Here we go again. He was another of those pesky young types, wearing a broken pair of spectacles. He should have said he was wearing a monocle. He was wearing a fancy monocle. That would be more old-fashioned. He had a newspaper in his right hand, and the noisy brat kept rustling its pages. The young man was listening to the wireless. I remember that well. Then the serving girl in question brought over the Javachino. The little fidget picked up the cup with his free hand and took a sip. The testimony we have just heard was to test how credible the witness's memory is. It seems to me that he remembers the victim in a great deal of detail. Oh yes, I hate those you-know-what types who are so vague about everything. You-know-what types who are vague? How are we going to handle this, Nick? We only need to do one thing. We just need to prove that the old man's memory is shot. Just trip him up, you mean? Isn't that kind of cruel? Yeah, I suppose, but it's what I do best.